Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Bit with the Chris and Sandy Show.
Yes.
And we're a little excited today. Today is the 1 year anniversary of our show.
Yes. January 3rd.
January 3rd, we launched last year. And we had
2020.
ain't that crazy? Yeah, and we have no idea what we're going to talk about. We just figured we'd
We're
wing
gonna
it.
wing it.
And we figured we'd talk about some of the highlights from
Yes.
2020 and all that because we have no idea what we really want to say. We just know that it's been really awesome.
It has.
2020.
We got to do some things we never dreamed we would have got to do in 2020.
And if you're listening to this and watching this, be sure to share so that people can see what's going on with our show. You know, again, if you just tuned in, today is the 1 year anniversary of the Chris and Sandy Show. And we're like ecstatic. We can't believe we are here.
Yes. 1 year later.
We can't believe that what we've gotten to do in 2020. When we first launched in 2020, our plan was to be just a country music show, interview show
for up and coming
artists. And we were going to do maybe 100 interviews our first year.
And we thought that would be stretching it.
We thought, man, if we could just do that, we'd be a solid show. And we weren't sure if we could make 100 interviews.
That's true. I thought it would maybe be 60.
What was your thought when I first told you let's do the show?
I was like, let's do a show. Are you sure? And then we were like, well, what should we name it?
And then I was like, well, what else? The Chris and Sandy Show. Because, you know, our marriage is always, and I'm like, yeah, because our marriage has always kind of been our brand through our whole marriage of 18 years now. So that's been our brand. Anybody that knows us knows that we believe in marriage. We believe in being together and all that. So I thought, hey, Chris and Sandy Show, why not?
And I was like, well, that worked because nobody knows who we are.
And here we are. As crazy as this sounds, 1 year later, we done 306 interviews our first year.
Yes.
And we're sitting here like, and how did that happen though? I remember we were, you know, when we had the goal of 100 interviews, we were about 2 months in, a month in, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I told Sandy, you know what? I think 100 interview goal is a little too not enough. I was like, we're going to hit that easily. So I was like, you know, we need to make it 200. So we made the goal of 200.
That was around the start of the pandemic.
And then the pandemic happened. That was right before the pandemic. But then the pandemic happened. And that's when I looked at Sandy and says, okay, that's a game changer. This is our time to shine. Because artists and people within the entertainment world need a platform to talk because everything's being shut down. And I was like, we're going to give them that platform. We're going to give them a place to rant if that's what they want. We're going to give them a place to talk about the good that's going on, the bad that's going on. We're going to be that platform.
And that did happen, yes.
And because of that, we've hit 300 interviews our first year. And then August was our biggest month. We ended up with 44 interviews that month. And I thought, oh, wow, this is going great. Then all of a sudden, September was getting harder to book.
It was, I remember.
Because all of a sudden, people were going back to gigs and stuff. Some things were starting to open back up.
Music artists were.
And I was like, oh, God, you know, I got used to doing all these interviews. What are we going to do now to supplement those spots? Bingo, I had an idea.
Yes.
Let's be an entertainment interview show. And instead of being just artists, let's bring in actors. And what did you think when I said that?
It's like, are you sure we want to do that? Because that's a big change to bring that into the show.
Did you even believe we could do it?
No, not really. It's like, we don't really have any contacts there. It will be difficult.
I figured the foundation we've built and some of the people that we've had on, which we'll talk about in a minute, would be enough to get some of the actors on. And then next thing I know, I reach out for this soap opera star. I won't say who yet because we still want him to come on eventually.
We're still working
so we're not going to say
one.
who.
No.
But a big star.
Yeah.
And I reached out to his team for him. And the agent said we might can get him down the road, but we would love to get the legendary actor Ed Asner on your show.
Yes. And I was like, Ed Asner, really?
And Sandy was like, what? Ed Asner? And I'm like, so now granted, we did have one actor before him because she was becoming a singer. It was Angela Watson who played Karen of all things this year, played Karen on the show Step by Step.
And that was one of our favorite
and
shows from the past.
And so it was really cool having her on that show. Because hey, we grew up watching, that show. And even when we were married, the reruns, we were watching that all the time. So it was really cool having her on. But when they said Ed Asner, get him on, I was like, ooh, man, this is...
Yeah, like he's done everything in acting.
And they even mailed his biography book, and we had to read it, and that was he has a really interesting story.
It was.
If you have
very good book,
listen to the interview with him, be sure to go back and find it, because if you go to chrissandyshow.com, and I've got couple special shows posted on there, and Ed Asner's one of them, because that's a big one for us.
It was. He was very funny. He had a lot of great stories. It was just awesome.
What's funny is as we were getting started, he's like, Sandy, are you there? And because we were audio, we did with him, not video. And she says, yeah. He goes, good, we can get started then. So he wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be just me and him. He's like, okay, the two's got to be there. So he was like really funny.
He was great.
So, then I got to thinking, we got a couple actors on, why not figure out who little Chris likes?
Oh, yes.
On his TV shows, and see if we can't get some of them on.
Because he's a huge Nickelodeon fan.
And since we bring him on every episode to ask a question or two, we thought, hey, let's be something plus with him. And next thing we know, we got some yeses on that.
Yeah.
I mean, we got the Blues Clues guy, Joshua from him. We got two people from Side Hustle. That's one of little Chris's favorite shows now. And we really love that show too. It's really cool. But we end up getting a few people from there.
And we got Aria Brooks from all that.
Yeah, he loves that show. And next thing you know, we're all of a sudden in December building up where I think I haven't looked at the numbers, but it looks like we had as many, if not more, actors come on our show as we did artists in December.
We did.
It was like,
that's right.
We were trying to book artists, but they were so booked up because of the holiday and all that. But yet the actors kept coming, and we're sitting here like, oh, whoa, our show has changed and it's become now an entertainment platform.
Yes. And we started out as just audio. Video didn't come until October.
Now, what did you think when I said, let's do video?
I was always scared to do video. I'm like camera shy and didn't know how it would go. And we have a 22-month-old daughter who needs me sometimes, so I may not always be able to be on videos, which we made that work.
Because that was the hard part. That's why I always stayed audio, because Sandy could be on the audio and walk around holding Caitlin and muting and unmuting.
Yeah.
But when you're on video, you kind of can't do that. So going video was a game changer a little bit for us.
It was.
But the
first video one we had was someone Christopher is a huge fan of.
What's funny is be careful what you do for the first time. Because I remember thinking, if we're going to go video, I want it to be big. I want to be a big artist
that a lot of
people's heard of. And we happen to get Allie Brooke. And most people know who she is. She was part of Fifth Harmony. We're one of the big groups back in the day.
Yes.
And she's still doing some big stuff now. And she's been on some of his big Nickelodeon stuff.
She has.
So she's been acting. She's an artist, all that.
And she had a book coming out.
So we had her booked. And she's our first video.
Yes.
We're partly through that video. And I'm thinking to myself, this was a mistake. I'm thinking, okay, I'm not sure about this because of it didn't go as planned, because it was our first video. We ain't done video at this point. And it was like, we first used the StreamYard that we're using here. We never used it before, never done video.
Never.
So we're just playing with it.
Completely inexperienced.
So we've got someone who has millions of followers as our first video. And we're like, oh boy. And she kept getting pushed off the system.
I remember the funny comment by one of her fans about Frozen Alley.
She froze up, and somebody says, I love Frozen Alley.
They said, Frozen Alley is my new favorite alley. And it was hilarious.
And but you know what? Let's go back a little bit. The game changer for the show came about a couple months in.
Right.
I remember I was frustrated. I was trying to grow our show. I wanted to grow the artists that we're bringing on. And I remember I thought I could get this one person because I knew her family. And I got turned down.
I won't say who it is, but
she was big.
Show someday.
And I won't. And I sat there. I got a turn down from her team. I forget that once you get signed to a label, doesn't matter if you know the family.
True.
So
that's right.
I was a little upset, and I was like, "What do I do?" Well, I mean, if we're not going to be able to grow, what are we doing this show for? And then about an hour later, I mean, kid you not.
Yes.
An hour later, we got email of a PR company that says, I've got 6 artists I want to put on your show. Mm-hmm. And I'm skimming through the 6, and one of them is Anna Christina Cash. And I'm thinking, wonder if she's part of the Cash, because I never heard of her at this point. Yeah. So I looked her up. Come to find out, she's married to John Carter Cash, who's the son of Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I've been waiting on.
Yes.
And so I emailed them back and said, yes, we will take all 6. I was like, but can we do Anna Christina first? Because I was like, you know what? What if we did one of the other ones and they didn't like how we interviewed? Then I get nobody. So I wanted, so they booked her first and all that. And we got her on the show. And that was the first game changer for the Chris and Sandy show. And I remember thinking when we got off that, I was like, wow, that was really awesome. Next thing we know, we get Carlene Carter on.
Yes.
From the Carter family. Mm-hmm. We get Georgette Jones, who's the daughter of George Jones and Tammy Wynette. We get Taylor Lynn, who's the granddaughter of Loretta Lynn.
Jenny Gill.
We get Jenny Gill, the daughter of Vince Gill. Then a few months later, we got Callie Tucker, the niece of Tanya Tucker. So that was pretty cool.
It was.
So all of a sudden, that was kind of the game changer for the show that took us to that next level.
Because we had those names on our resume that we've interviewed these people, and that led to other connections and other people, other artists coming on.
And now let's go back to day 1.
Oh, I remember day 1. Yeah.
Oh my God, day 1.
And that was at the time we thought we would have to have a babysitter for Caitlin each week in order to do the show.
Yeah, we hired a babysitter and everything. We was going to do a 2-hour show. We was going to interview 2 people in this time. We had Ashlyn Grace as our very first guest and Ava Page as our second guest.
Oh, yes. Both awesome
And
artists.
What's funny is I tweeted Ty Bentley on Twitter about who was going to be our very first 2 guests.
Yes. And
I had to caption this because I remember he tweeted back saying how smart that was to get those 2.
Genius.
Yeah, he said that was genius as being your first guest. And because again, everybody in Nashville knows who Ava Page is and Ashlyn Grace, but with Ava Page with her cancer and all that, and we love her. She's really awesome. Awesome story. Such a young girl, such a young heart.
So talented.
And so talented and so raw. And she's just awesome.
She is.
And Ashlyn Grace, I mean, what can we say?
She's amazing.
Her mom, Sherry, was what allowed Ashlyn to be our very first guest. And Sherry's helped us out tremendously promoting our show. We bring on some of their artists and all that.
We do.
But, we
love them.
But here's the funny part. We started out with using Blog Talk as our audio. And I remember telling Sandy that, I can talk. If you ain't noticed between my shows, I don't have no problem talking. So I had no fear of that side of it, of interviewing the show, especially the very first show, not knowing what's going to happen. My fear was the technology. We never used any of this type of stuff.
No.
So we had Blog Talk going. And I remember told Sandy that, you know what, as long as it don't go out, I'm good to go. We're about 3 minutes in, 5 minutes in with Ashlyn, with Ashlyn Grace, first guest. It goes blank.
Yeah, we were.
My worst fear goes blank. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, no. And Sandy come running.
I'm on the phone, dead silence.
Like, Sandy says, what happened? What happened? I don't know. And then Ashlyn texts me and says, what happened? And I text back, I don't know. And you know,
we're freaking out.
We're freaking out, not knowing what to do. We're in the middle of a show. Don't know what to do. We all called back into the show. It worked, and we finished the show. Yeah. And I'm sitting there thinking, I guess God heard me, because I said my only fear was technology going out. And I guess God said, you know what? If that's your biggest fear, let's get that out of the way and make that happen. Because if that's the big fear, then you'll ride the rest of the way. And bam, it happened. And I even contacted a friend of mine who's done over 500 shows on Blog Talk. And I told him about what happened. He said he's never had that happen to him once. And here it is. We had it happen our first show. And we're sitting there like, oh, my God, what do we do here with this?
Well, that's a theme for us, because our first video, as we talked about, in and out.
So first audio was crazy. The first video turned out to be crazy. So who were a few of your highlights of the year?
Oh, wow. So many people that I was fans of growing up, we actually got to talk to this year. Randy Travis definitely stands out. And he tried so hard to talk to our son, Christopher.
Because as many of you know, he had a stroke in 2013 and he can't really speak.
So his wife was on there.
So she speaks for him. But little Chris asked him a question.
Yeah, about what his favorite
and he tried to get it out. So I was like, oh, he's trying to talk about it.
Sweet. That's so awesome. And, oh, yes. And Colin Ray, that's another highlight. Dina Carter, Andy Griggs. Just so many. And Terry McBride.
And it's been crazy.
So many amazing
Buddy
artists.
Jewel.
Oh, of course, Buddy Jewel.
Can't forget him. He was. My God! But I got a Buddy Jewel story for you.
Oh, we do. This was crazy.
We had nobody knew that we booked Cassidy Pope for our show, and I had to keep it quiet until a certain day. And before the Buddy Jewel thing, I was talking to Buddy, and I told him about we had Cassidy Pope coming on, and I can make that announcement that following Monday.
Right, this was like a Thursday or something.
And he was having a live takeover on our show on that Monday.
Right.
When I could make that announcement. And so we're at the end of the interview with Buddy Jewel. And he says, aren't you going to tell the secret?
And I got it. I think
I didn't get it. I'm freaking.
He was freaking out.
I'm freaking like on the phone, like what do I say? What is he talking about?
And I was about to step in. I'm like, he's talking about the takeover, I think.
But he knew. But see, this was the funny part. This is Buddy's thing. He knew I would probably take it the other way, the Cassidy
and you
secret.
Did.
And he, and eventually he finally come out and says, the takeover. I was like, oh, the takeover. Yeah. Then I made the announcement that he's taking over our show.
I was like, you finally did.
And then he joked to everybody. He says, yeah, there's another announcement he's making on Monday. And
but we're not going to tell
He said, but we won't tell that. And I thought that he was telling it. I really did.
Well, he really got you.
He really got me. And some of them, we've had Lee Bryce.
Oh, Lee Bryce stands out, definitely. What an awesome guy.
Was really awesome.
He was.
And, to have a top current, and how many number ones he's had?
I think 7 now.
Like 7 number ones and current.
Yep.
That was an amazing thing. Of course, Cassidy Pope on. She was really awesome.
Yes, we've had some voice winners.
Yeah, we've had Sawyer Fredericks.
Oh, yes. And
Jake Hoot, Maddie Poppy on there from Idol.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had a couple Idol winners, a couple voice winners, a couple runner-ups from each.
Oh, yes.
We've had a lot of up-and-coming artists, which we really love, too. I mean, they're all awesome. Because I'll be honest, because sometimes when you're talking to an up-and-coming artist, you still, sometimes when, like some of the big artists, they can lose that fire in them sometimes. They've been there for so long.
Right.
But these artists that are up and coming, they got that fire, and they're in that hunt, and they're chasing that dream, and it's amazing to hear their story.
It is
to hear what they're going through
what they
right
go
now,
through day to day, chasing
and
that
that's
dream.
and because that's what our show is about, being up close and personal with whoever the guests are that come on our show.
Oh yes, we've always kept that theme.
And
show.
we're sitting here like, wow, and all this, and now we look back, it's like we're 1 year later, January. And for those of you that just joined us, 1 year today that we've been doing this show.
And there was a reason we started on this date. If you want to tell them,
also, the reason why we started the show January 3rd of last year is what had happened was we kept saying we're going to do a show, going to do a show, going to do a show
for like 2-3 years.
Never did it. So I thought if I tie the show to something, a significant date for me, we would have no choice to do the show. So my mom passed away back in 2002 or 2003. I mean, yes. 6 months after we married.
Yep.
Her birthday is January 3rd. So I figured we'll launch and dedicate our first show to my mom, who was amazing, and my mom loved her.
Yeah.
And I figured if I dedicate that, there's no way we wouldn't launch. And we're so glad, because when we started, we didn't know nothing. We didn't know where we were going.
Scared.
We didn't know that we would have all these great artists, some of these great actors. I mean, we even had an athlete / author come on our show, Olympian Scott Hamilton.
Amazing.
That was really awesome.
What a great guy he was.
And because I love it when I can talk about God on here. That just inspires, and because I can't do that on every show because you don't know where they stand. So I keep it about music or about acting until they bring something out, and then of course I dive in there then.
And we've had some great Christian artists on the show as well.
We had Aaron Cole, who won a Dove Award. He's an up and coming Christian artist, but he won a Dove Award recently.
Yes.
We've had who else? We have a Christian artist.
Oh, we had that gospel artist.
Oh yeah, what's his name again? Pugh.
Ernest.
Yeah, Ernest Pugh.
Yes,
he was really awesome. We got cut short with him because he was driving and his Wi-Fi went out.
Oh, so and Natasha Owens.
And Natasha Owens, she was awesome. Amazing, yeah. So we've had some great guests through the year. Mm-hmm. Where are we going this year? That's the question.
Yes.
What are we going to do now
for this year?
Keep doing what we're doing. Keep doing the show. Yeah. But there is a calling on our hearts that God has always called us to.
Yes.
And that's to write and speak on marriage. So we're starting another podcast just for those of us called Inspired Marriage Podcast.
Yes.
And it's going to be a weekly podcast where we just talk and try to be as authentic as we can about different subjects on marriage. And again, for this one, just like the Chris and Sandy show, we picked the date of January 10th because it means something.
Yes, it's a significant date. That's my birthday.
So, the world changed on January 10th, 1977. At least for me.
Oh.
Because here we are, the world definitely changed for me.
And January 11th.
And January 11th, the day after, we had little Chris, of course.
Yes.
But we're going to do a podcast starting January 10th, and it's going to be a weekly.
It will.
And because we live marriage a little different than a lot of people.
We do.
We're going to also bring on guests. Each Sunday it will be released. The main podcast.
We'll record those sometime during the week.
But every Thursday, or at least most Thursdays, it's gonna be called Testimony Thursday, and we're gonna bring on other married couples who went through the fire like we did.
Oh yes,
and came out on the other side, and we're gonna just ask them questions about how they did it. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna have 2 weekly on that one. That's going to be once a week too, because if you don't know, I went through 19 years of addictions.
Yes.
Until God healed me over 13 years ago. December 26 was 13 years, and I remember I was destroying this marriage back then. And Sandy, God bless her, she put up with a lot those first 5 years of our marriage, and I remember thinking, I got up December 26, 2007. And for the first time, I realized I got drunk on Christmas Day. And God convicted me that morning. I knew it was time. I was destroying this marriage. I wasn't going to have it. We have such a connection story. Anybody that knows our story knows that we have such a story that's got to be told. And I remember getting up thinking, I told God, I was at the edge, and I was like, okay, I can't do this no more. You either take the desire from me or take my life. One or the other. One of the two's got to happen because I couldn't do this no more. And I remember feeling like God spoke to me saying, give me 30 days. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, now I'm going crazy. I'm thinking, what do you mean give you 30 days? You're God. And then I'm thinking, okay, is that the enemy speaking to me? I'm like, because I'm freaking out here. What in the world? But what I didn't know then that I realize now is before every miracle is always preceded in the Bible by some form of obedience. Those 30 days was my obedience. And I've been sober since December 26th,
yes.
2007. We just crossed 13 years sober. And our marriage has never been the same. And on the Inspired Marriage podcast, if you watch that, right, we'll talk a little bit about our story, especially in the first episode. Now, we'll probably piece parts of our story on each episode, but the first one will be about us and all that and about what we're doing. But Sandy's been amazing. And I can't imagine a more amazing partner. But you know what? Here's another cool thing. We're great co-hosts, but we also got a third co-host.
We do. We
couldn't have a show without little Chris, right? We have to have him on every show, at least on most shows.
Oh, yeah.
And he loves this.
He does. We've got to bring him in.
And Sandy's going to go get him real quick, and we're going to talk to him a little bit.
Yes.
Because as we close this day out, it's been really awesome. This one, looking back on this year of 300 shows that we did on the Chris and Sandy show. And we're looking for another 300 in 2021, which will be cool. And tomorrow we got another one coming at you. And we're booked up all week this week, to be honest with you already. So we're already starting out the gate. In fact, Tuesday we've got Mark, I think it's Mark McKinney, McKinnon or whatever his name. I can't remember. Brain freeze. But either way, we've got a guy from one of the BET stars coming on Tuesday, which is pretty cool. We got another guy coming on later this week who's one of Tyler Perry's actors and all that. That's going to be a really cool interview because one day we want Tyler Perry on our show. And Steve Harvey, we'd like to have him too one day. So if any of y'all are listening and have connections to those two, come on.
We'd love to make it happen.
Bring it.
Here's Christopher.
So, how has the show been for you?
How have you enjoyed doing it?
It's been great.
It's been great?
Yes.
Who's been some of your favorite faves?
Allie Brooke.
Oh, you love Allie Brooke.
We know that.
He was nervous about when Allie Brooke.
That one he was
he got a little shy on that one.
She's awesome, isn't she, huh?
Yes.
Who were some of your other favorites?
Josh.
Oh, from Blue's Clues.
Josh from Blue's Clues.
He's a really cool guy.
He was really cool. And, maybe one day we can have his wife on. That'd be cool.
Yes. Any other favorites?
Yes. Aria Brooks.
From All That, from Nickelodeon, All That. She's pretty good. She was a really good interview, too. Awesome. She was young, but she's grounded big time. She's, you could tell her parents raised her great.
Yes.
So where do you think we're going with the show?
I think it's going great.
You think it's going great?
Yes.
And you want to tell everybody what question you ask on every show?
What do you ask most of these artists?
Well, you usually ask.
Favorite food?
And what is your favorite food?
Pizza.
Oh, you can eat some pizza, can't you?
Yes.
You can really eat some pizza. You'd eat it all day long if we
get it. He would.
You'd keep it out and eat it. And so, are you wanting to do your own podcast down the road?
You want to do your own someday?
Yeah, yes, I do.
We're getting you ready, aren't we?
Won't that be really cool?
Yes.
All right, you can go outside.
Thanks,
bye. Thanks.
All right. Good job.
And thank you, Diana. About the congratulations. We really appreciate that.
We do.
it's been a crazy year. 2020 has been tough for everybody. And
It has.
the show really helped us get through a lot of things
It
this year.
did. This has been the busiest year of our life this past
A lot
year.
of people had to slow down, and we had to speed up.
Yeah, it's because we have a side job outside of this as well, which is food delivery, and that was busier than ever this year.
Yeah, everybody that's got shut down, guess what? They're ordering food. And we got really busy because of that. So we're sitting here like busier than ever, trying to do this show, trying to raise an 8-year-old who's about to be 9.
And a toddler.
And a toddler who's about to be 2 in February, a little girl. And one day she'll be on the show too. And we're trying to do all this. And then we're trying to do what God called us to do, which is coming next too with Inspired Marriage Podcast. So
and a book.
And we're writing 2 books. One book called Through the Fire, which is going to be our story of how we walked through the fire and came out on the other side. And then we got a second book that we're writing. It's called Broken Together, because when 2 people marry, they're both broken together as they enter that marriage. They don't realize it many times, but they're both broken. They might not be like broken when you say broken. They might not be like broken as in at the bottom. Yeah. But everybody's broken to a degree, different level.
Different levels.
And so when they come into this marriage, they will sit there and communicate with each other based on their past experiences. When couples fight, and this is kind of the premise of Broken Together. When couples fight, they fight from their past experiences, their past pain. But they think they're fighting from their current circumstances. Has nothing to do with that. I mean, someone spills spaghetti and the other one freaks out. Do you really think that has to do with spaghetti?
And this actually happened because
that's why I said that. I know a couple that told us that they fought one time over spaghetti, so that's kind of why I brought that one up because that's what they said. It had nothing to do with the spaghetti, but that was the final straw. That exploded there because of that, and that's what happens in marriage. You got 2 people to come together. They got this pain and baggage that they bring into the marriage, and then all of a sudden, they're trying to communicate, and when a small issue comes up, they make a mountain out of a molehill because of their past pain. And that's what the premise of Broken Together. We're going to, we've got titles, chapters in the book, like it's going to start out with broken past because all of our past are broken. Broken childhood, broken vows, broken dreams, broken spirit. Because broken dreams is important because many times people will have dreams that they've tried to pursue for years and all of a sudden don't get it. That destroys the spirit within people sometimes.
It does.
And all of a sudden now, when they marry, you got somebody that's got dreams and somebody that's got no dreams. Because of that, then they fight because why bother? One person sees the dreams. Oh, that's just fairy tale. You'll never. So the book's gonna be about and then we're gonna finish the book out with a chapter called Better Together, because even though you're broken together, you're still better together. And that's kind of premises of the book Broken Together.
We're also working on an ebook about our first year of the Chris and Sandy show. In-depth details of starting a podcast from nothing.
It's been crazy.
And everything that happened through the year.
So you can say we're busy.
Busier than ever.
And I wasn't sure if the show is going to happen today, this one.
Right.
Because we're sitting there, and a lot of things is dependent on Caitlin with, as she is
she's getting into the little bit of a tantrum phase right now. She's almost 2.
And here's the funny part. We raised, little Chris is 8 years old.
Yes.
And, by the time he got 5 and 6, Sandy and I were like, we great parents. All these people that had all these issues, tantrums, and, you're out in the mall and you see people have tantrums with their kid. And we're like, our little boy don't do that because of us. It's us. So we're sitting there. We learned with Caitlin. It wasn't us.
No, different children have different personalities
and
different
so we have learned this year that parenting is not easy.
It's not, especially when you have more than one. Huh?
And they both don't act the same. You want them
Yeah,
to act the
different
same.
temperaments.
And you're like, why can't you be like so and so? Which we don't want to say that.
No,
Thank
we
God
don't
she's
wanna
only
say-
22 months. So
she's amazing.
But
too.
she's
She
amazing.
just has her
But
own-
here's
she's the sweetest thing.
here's the
She's
problem.
not upset.
She's like the cutest little thing.
Oh, she
So
is
she's both
so
extreme.
adorable.
She's like at the extreme of cuteness and the extreme of woo.
And funny sometimes.
So we've got the best of both worlds in
We
her.
do.
And so
And thank goodness we have little Chris to help
yeah,
us.
he
'cause
helps us
he helps entertain her,
tremendously.
keep her busy.
So we're just like all y'all. We're
We're
doing
real people
things.
here.
We're real people trying to do stuff. We're trying to be authentic. We probably went longer than we should have on this show.
We were supposed to go 20 minutes.
The
or
goal was
so.
20 minutes, and I guess we're like, what, 30 something minutes now? And,
Yeah.
we just wanted to show you we're real people with real family, with real issues. Yes, we have a passion for each other. We have a passion for what we do. We have a passion as a family, but we
Yes.
still have real issues like everybody else. We still
We
have
do.
kid issues. We still have money issues. We still have all kinds of issues that we will talk about. And balancing time. Although we're always together, even though we deliver food together and all that, we can't really talk. We
gotta
talk
focus
because
on
you got to
that.
focus on the delivery and all this. So we still got to find that time like everybody else, because we put in probably 30 hours a week in the food delivery and probably 30 to 40 hours a week on our show.
And
So
then we have to take care
and then
of
we
the
got to take
house
care of the
and
house, the kids,
and our marriage.
and we still got to somehow keep this together, And so, but you know what? We do what we do.
Mhm.
I believe if we'd have launched the marriage podcast a year or two ago, I don't think it would have been the same as it is now.
It wouldn't. No, we've grown a lot in 2020. 2020 was a game changer year for us.
Yeah, on multiple levels, from our show to
fronts.
how we parent,
Yeah,
to
how we do
how
life.
we learn things, how we learn life. So it's been a game changer for us. And I hope that you share this video, and I hope you
Please
get
do.
something out of this video. If nothing else, you get a good laugh. Because,
Yes.
again, we're just two people trying to do something crazy together. Don't know where it's going. We hope.
Don't know how it
Don't know how it even got here, to be honest with you.
because maybe it shouldn't have. But
We're just grateful that we're here,
Mhm.
and we're going to ride this ship until it don't. Because, again,
yes,
we just don't know.
Stay on this.
So we're going to keep on
crazy
this. We're going
train.
to keep writing. We're going to keep writing books. We're going to keep speaking on marriage, keep speaking at conferences and stuff as we grow.
Oh, yes.
Keep this show going, maybe even help podcasters out. It's because, again, we know a lot about podcasting.
Some coaching
with that. But either way, we're real people like you.
And we'll keep you updated on everything going on.
And we hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Chris and Sandy Show. I guess you could say it's the get to know Chris and Sandy.
The first episode was just Chris and Sandy
and
Christopher.
That's true. First episode of just us, which you'll see a lot more of us on the marriage one, because it'll be just
and
us.
You'll learn a lot more
and
about
you'll learn
our
more
story.
about our story, more in depth, more of how we do things. But you know what? We're glad you tuned in.
Yes.
And we hope that if you tuned in late, that you'll go back and when we're done in just a minute, that you'll go back and listen to this over and share it. Because you know what? We've had a great year. Today, January 3rd, was the 1 year anniversary. We doing things that we never imagined, but it's not been easy.
Right.
Some people might think, "Oh, this just comes naturally," and it really don't.
No,
this
had
has
to work
been
on it, especially
tough.
me. That was hard for me to.
When I got her audio, I was surprised. But
because I'm the person who used to years ago at networking things, I wouldn't even stand up and say my name. I would say
she would say
my name.
She would tell me to say her name. And so I'd say our name together. And so, so she was that shy. She was that person. And so she's growing a lot. So for her to be on this video, it is just amazing the transformation that she's had. But you know what? We've really enjoyed this year. And we look forward to another year. And we'll definitely keep y'all updated on what's going on. And just listen to our marriage podcast coming on. We hope that you'll share the Chris and Sandy Show over and over and over, because that helps our artists, actors, authors, and athletes who come on.
All of them.
So we really appreciate all y'all that has watched our shows.
Thank you so much for your
this
support.
last year. We really love all y'all.
We do.
We thank you for your support. And we hope that y'all have a great 2021 because let's all create a legacy together. I don't know what you're doing, but you can do whatever it is. Go out, find God, find your purpose, and run. And if you do that, as Zig Ziglar always says, we'll see you at the top. Y'all have a great day and share this.
Yes.
Thank you.